Welcome in to the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostrils. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill.
Good feet on the old man.
This is some back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome into a Monday edition, a championship Monday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, as we are always built by our friends over at RMB Builders. Remember, Rhett Bourgeois and the crew over at RMB, they are on social media. You can find them on Instagram. Hit them there, and make sure you tell them that you heard it here on the show. Got a lot to get to here over the next couple of minutes as we're going to talk to Patrick Wright. Patrick's going to be here at 7:30. Patrick has been on the LSU women's basketball radio call forever. We'll ask him what yesterday was like, as he had a fantastic call. Stewie, I believe you can find it at lsusports.net if you want to get to it. But his last call of the national championship yesterday, first one in LSU program history, was pretty cool, man. He crushed it. He nailed it. So we'll talk to Patrick about that moment. We'll talk to him obviously about what this ride has been like as LSU women wake up this morning as national champs. What an incredible, incredible story it has been since Kim Mulkey accepted the job at LSU 2 years ago. And this is amazing. We'll talk all about it coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. As we said, we'll also talk to Ben McDonald coming up here at, watch yourself there, Steve.
Hold up.
That is dangerous. We'll also talk to Ben McDonald at around 8 a.m. as Big Ben will be here talking about LSU baseball, taking 2 of 3 over the weekend from Tennessee. Obviously, it did not end the way that LSU wanted to, but for the most part, that was a really successful weekend for LSU as they take care of business versus the Volunteers. As on Friday, another big game by Gavin Dugas, and then on Saturday to close it out, LSU fell 14-7 after giving up 10 runs in the first couple of innings. So we'll talk to Ben McDonald about the LSU baseball series. They got Nichols at the box tomorrow night, and then they'll travel to South Carolina this weekend. But the story, obviously, of the day and will dominate news not only here locally but around the country headlines is going to be LSU women's basketball, and that is the Tigers taking care of business versus Iowa yesterday and scoring the most points in the history of the national championship game, the women's national championship game, as they go over 100. They scored 102 yesterday to close out Iowa, 102-85. So many stories in this game, right? Obviously, Kim Mulkey going back home and winning a national championship at LSU, kind of calling her shot at that press conference a couple of years ago when she was introduced, when she looked up at the banners and read Final Four, Final Four, Final Four, no national championship, and knew it was her task and her job to bring it back. And, in only her second season, wow, with a team that was outside of the top 20 going into the season, going into the year, to find themselves the last one standing here in year 2 has got to have Mulkey really amped up about what the future is going to be like for this program. I can't anticipate, for as much as I last week was saying, I don't think that Mulkey was surprised by the success of the program. She's got to wake up this morning surprised that she's a national champ. I mean, what a story, right? First off, in a tournament run that has been filled with, at times, really just poor basketball, right? Where it was tough to make shots. It was tough to execute. Tigers were on last night as they shot nearly 55% from the field, 54%, including 11 of 17 from three-point range. Story of the night, one of them at least, is Jasmine Carson. Carson, a senior from Memphis, coming into the game, averaged 8 points a game. Last night in the national championship game, she had 22 points and was perfect from the field. It was amazing. She shot 83% from the 3-point line and shot 88% from the field. I mean, just a night and a game that Jasmine Carson will talk about forever. I mean, she will tell her great grandkids about the national championship in 2022, in 2023, where she went nuclear. I mean, it was so fun to watch, man. I mean, rarely do you see someone ask for a heat check, like during a game, like, yo, hit me, and knock it down. I mean, she was kind of checking herself, like, how hot am I? And one of those threes that she just drained running back down the floor, where she was just going, rarely, like she said in the postgame, rarely does she celebrate. But, I mean, that was an incredible emotion. And then the shot before half where she banks it in was just, it was kind of another indicator that it was her night. I mean, it was falling for Jasmine Carson. And I know a lot of hard work has gone into that. And for it to come true during the national championship game, man, what a moment. What a moment for the senior and what a moment for the program. I thought all in all, LSU was that they were so well prepared. And I think that you have to recognize first and foremost, kind of what you were going up against in Caitlin Clark. I mean, I got to be honest. I mean, the past couple of weeks, I've really come to learn really who Clark is. I mean, not that I really knew who she was, but I mean, after watching her play a couple of times, the game versus South Carolina, and then watching her play yesterday in the national championship, I mean, she's the best college basketball player in the country, and it's not even close. I'm talking about both sides, men and women. I mean, she's got this feeling to her that at any point in the game, she can go off. And when I mean go off, like get like 12 points in 2 minutes, I mean, like, she is scary. The way the ball goes through the net, I mean, has like a real Steph Curry feel to it. The first 3 minutes of the game, I mean, if you're Kim Mulkey, you're thinking, what are we going to do? She's throwing it in from the parking lot. I mean, she's fun to watch, man. A couple of 40-point performances and then 30 yesterday. I thought LSU did a really good job of paying attention to her after she really was showing her range off early in that game. Showing that there's really no spot that she won't pull it from. And, she can bury it from anywhere. So LSU, I thought, defensively handled up on her and get the win 102-85. I cannot believe, really, I can't believe how many people are showing just how dumb of sports fans you are, or like, I'm not getting into this at all, and I'm not trying to kick the ant pile, but I mean, this story with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, this is hopefully this is just social media drama, right? I mean, like, some of the people, but I mean, you see some of the names getting involved in this. Dave Portnoy calling Angel Reese, a piece of bleep, use your imagination, on Twitter, on social media, is, I thought it was a fake account when I saw it at first. I mean, no way the Barstool CEO is getting involved at that level of name calling to a college athlete. And I know that it takes on a different tone now that they're getting paid and that they're, almost employees of the sport. But still, all in all, I mean, this is a young person at a high point in their life, and he goes to name calling on social media after knowing that the other side, the opponent, has done that. I mean, I saw Caitlin Clark, that clip of her doing that against Louisville 60 times before the game. I mean, before Angel Reese ever did it. And it was laughed at. It was talked about as, her being focused, how big how she's competitive, how she's a player. And then to see the reaction and just what is spewing from people on social media about Angel Reese at the end of the game for giving it back to, Caitlin Clark, kind of doing the John Cena, you can't see me in front of her face, and then pointing to her ring finger as to say we're about to, collect some jewelry, is I can't believe it. The fallout, what are we talking about? I mean, that's sports. That's competition. I mean, people really have this type of reaction to that stuff. I mean, I remember Joe Burrow doing this on the national championship stage a couple of years ago. I mean, in the middle of the field. And I never heard one piece of pushback from it. And to see some of the stuff that you're reading on social media after Angel Reese is celebrating a national championship in a competitive environment where they've been going back and forth all game. I mean, that game was chippy. That game was competitive. I mean, that's what competition is. I mean, these quick whistles on technical fouls these days and, unsportsmanlike conducts and going to the replay when stuff happens, it's like, at what point do you draw the line of, hey, this is competition. I know that there is a clear line, but I mean, that's not crossing it. I mean, that's not even flirting with it to cross it. To me, I mean, that's good competition. Tyrann Mathieu and Tom Brady in the Super Bowl going at each other, Brady chasing Mathieu down, getting in his face and, telling him whatever he was saying in his ear. That's the good stuff. I mean, that's what I came to see, man. There's a great clip of Michael Jordan playing, I believe, in the 1992 Eastern Conference Finals versus the Knicks, where him and Xavier McDaniel come face to face, and Jordan is just, he's talking so much. I mean, he's got spit flying out of his mouth in McDaniel's face. I mean, that's the stuff that it's all about. That's the stuff when you look out there and you're saying, hey, they're emotionally involved. They're invested. They're in it. They care. It matters. And for that to be ridiculed and broken down to unsportsmanlike and classless. What is class in sports? I mean, ultimate class. I mean, when you get into competition, it gets grimy. It gets a little dirty. I mean, you say you want to go stand down and get close to the competition. Well, don't be surprised on some of the stuff that you hear. I mean, I never forget somebody that I was working with in radio early on, had a chance to go down on the sideline and cover a LSU football game, and was kind of, if you cover the game from a photo standpoint, as the field flips, right, as the ball kind of changes each side of the field, the photography staff has to run kind of behind the bench, of LSU as they kind of, they get back and forth from each side of the field. And, one person was telling me when they got back into the office, like on a Monday or Tuesday morning, like just how appalled they were by the way that the coaches and players communicate down there. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, I mean, it's just nonstop MF and nonstop, calling the opponents. I'm like, what do you think competition is, man? Like, you think that people are really in that moment as they're focused and zoned in on winning, really concerned about how they communicate to somebody that they're trying to take something from? I mean, all of this pushback, man, is just, I can't believe it. I really cannot believe the amount of people that's kind of like showing their ass on this thing. I mean, like, just some of the reaction from that stuff is amazing. 12 minutes from now, we're going to talk to Patrick Wright. Wright's going to be here. He's been on the radio call forever, man. LSU's jumping on a plane at they leave Dallas at about 10 a.m. this morning. So they'll be landing at close to about 11:30 in Baton Rouge. So I know that there is some details that are going to be published on the celebration for the ladies as they make it back from the Final Four yesterday. But what just an incredible game. It was a great game, for LSU. I thought, for what that game was. And I have to be honest, we were in Pensacola this weekend at an AAU basketball tournament watching Jordan and the crew hoop. And, when South Carolina fell to Iowa on Friday, I really thought like LSU was sitting in a great spot just because, I mean, it's tough to bounce back when you slay the dragon. South Carolina has been the dragon all season long, right, in this sport where everybody was kind of chalking them as the national champ. I mean, they won it last year. They had an undefeated regular season. They coasted through the SEC tournament. They, up to the Final Four really kind of were controlling all of their opponents, and then they ran into a buzzsaw in Caitlin Clark on Friday and really just could not get off the mat and couldn't get off the ropes. And, by the time they tried to make it and grab it back, it was just too late. And I thought from Iowa's standpoint, if you're their next opponent, if you're LSU, you're sitting in a great spot because really it blew a lot of emotion to turn around and have to play it again in 48 hours and play for something that's even bigger. What do you mean bigger? Right? Like there's something bigger than that. There's something bigger, than beating the number one overall seed and the undefeated dragon that's been here for, 2 years in this sport. Really? That's an emotional kind of buildup that you have to do it again. From LSU's standpoint, they obviously took down Virginia Tech, but it was a pretty clear game. There was not a lot of emotion that was drawn that you had to draw from it. That Iowa game was an emotionally draining game versus South Carolina. So I thought LSU was sitting in a great spot, at least to match up against Iowa. And then, the start of that game was such a flurry where you thought, wow, Iowa might be able to sustain this thing again. And LSU's just too athletic. Really, they're just unreal on, how athletic they are. And that's the scary thing about LSU basketball. To win this national championship, this is almost kind of a little bit of gravy if you're Kim Mulkey. This is truly the one. When she's done with her body of work at LSU, she's going to look back on and say, that's the one that really, that one almost kind of came out of nowhere, for a couple of reasons. LSU really kind of had to put this thing, patch it together. They had 9 transfers and 9, really transfers and new faces that they had to kind of incorporate together. And, they really had to catch their stride. Now, obviously, they had a heck of a regular season, and I see a lot of people that are talking about, their pre-conference schedule, and, it really may have helped them. They looked fresh. They looked as if they had good legs that they were able to run throughout the, SEC and postseason play. that may have been a benefit for them at this point and really gave them a chance to gel and find their chemistry and, work things out. And, I mean, you had to get all of those questions answered, which they did. And you still had South Carolina sitting out there, and that was just a mountain that everybody thought nobody was going to be able to cross over this year. And for LSU to, have it set up to where they were on the other side of the bracket, and for Iowa, a team like the Hawkeyes with a player like Caitlin Clark to go in there and, really South Carolina had no answer for them. I mean, they couldn't make shots, and, Iowa, credit their bigs as much as, as good as Clark played. I mean, I thought their defensive plan against South Carolina, where they just bunched it in on them and, made it tough for them to play as big as they are, really tough. So incredible to see what yesterday did for the SEC. I mean, real quick, and shout out, we'll get a little bit more back to LSU as Patrick Wright's going to be here in 10 minutes, right on the radio call yesterday. Stewie, were you able to find his last call? And make sure we want to play that here in a minute. But the SEC has won the last 4 college football titles with 3 different teams. It's LSU, Bama, and Georgia. The last 2 women's college basketball titles with 2 different programs in South Carolina and LSU. And the last 2 college World Series titles with 2 different teams, both of those the Mississippi schools of Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And right now they've got the number 1 team in the country with LSU in that sport. It just means more. I know that is the saying, but it's really playing out on the field as LSU, or excuse me, the SEC is dominating the athletic arena. I mean, just cleaning up as far as championships go, and LSU has a say-so in a lot of that. So one thing that we do know from Mulkey's standpoint is that it's just getting started, really. I mean, think about this team, Angel Reese coming back with the addition of someone like Michaela Williams, who's the number 1 player, number 2 player in the country. Del Rosario, the big out of Nashville, Tennessee, who's a really good player, and a couple of other additions. And who knows what they're going to do in the transfer portal. I mean, there's got to be players around the country that's looking at LSU's program right now thinking, I want to be there. For as much as this storyline around LSU, has really kind of been polarizing. It feels like there's a true love-hate relationship with Kim Mulkey. There's a section of people that really love her, but there's a very loud section that does not like her and wants to see her fail. And she spoke to those people last night in the post-game press conference, and it was really a question about Angel. Mulkey said to judge from afar it's shameful. You don't know these people. You didn't. She was speaking from her point of view. She was saying it's like as if you don't know me and you don't know her. And for people to say the things that they do, even though I thought her persona on the sideline yesterday was spot on, bro. I mean, I know that the haters, the people that are against Kim Mulkey are just, they cannot get over that she made contact with an official. And I mean, like, she shoved her, pretty much. I mean, it was blatant kind of, the official was kind of trying to back her up, and Mulkey wanted a foul. She was hitting the elbow in her face, and the lady kind of backed her up, and, and Mulkey kind of shoved her off of her along the way. I mean, it was something. And I would say this, the officiating in women's college basketball, for as much as they have seen a rating spike, which I know has been reported, and I can't wait to see I didn't get the 2:30 start though. If we're trying to maximize the ratings here, and if you've got a good product, which you do, why bury it on when everybody's driving around or moving around or sitting on a soccer field, a baseball field, a basketball gym, wherever people are. I mean, like, I didn't understand the timing of that, but the ratings have been fantastic. The officiating is just horrible. I mean, for Angel Reese to be sitting on the bench for the entire second quarter of the national championship game, somebody in some executive office has to be on the phone today with the officiating committee of women's college basketball and say, this cannot happen ever again. Like, I mean, swallow the whistle or learn what is a foul. I mean, it was, there's just, the game could never get flowing. The game could never get moving. The whistles just kept neutering the game. I mean, it was just, there was nowhere to go.
Caitlin Clark had 4.
Yeah. I mean, and she had 3 early ones.
Like, second quarter, early.
So, all right, let's talk to Patrick Wright. I'm looking forward to talking to P. Diddy here. He's been doing this for a long time, man. He's been alongside all the Final Fours. He's also been along for a lot of the years of the struggles. What was yesterday like? What has these 2 years been like under Kim Mulkey? We will talk to Patrick Wright next here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, daily, we are brought to you by City Cafe, our friends over at City Cafe. You can find them, citycafebr.net. Citycafebr.net is where you can find them. And they're online there, and they're also in the corner of O'Neill and George O'Neill, where good friends meet. They have crawfish over there that you can find. They've got raw oysters, char-grilled oysters. They've got daily lunch specials. They also have brunch on Sundays that you can find as well. Online, citycafebr.net, citycafebr.net. We go over to Dallas and talk to Patrick Wright from the LSU Sports Radio Network next here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college, for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculottashow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com.
Hey, she's on her way up.
Hey, G, I got you something.
Hey, Coach. What do you think? Is this too much?
If you look good, you play good.
All right, then. Let's get it done.
back dribble. She does. 3, 2, 1. Ball game is over. Your Fighting Tigers are national champions in year number 2 of the Kim Mulkey era. 102-85 the final. Tiger fans everywhere, celebrate your LSU Tigers. Woo!
Yesterday, what a great call from our friend Patrick Wright, who is on Twitter at Voice Lady Tigers. You can find him and keep up with him there. But yesterday, a moment for Patrick Wright, who has been doing this for 33 years. He has been on the microphone for LSU women's basketball and has seen it all, man, everything. From Sue Gunner to 4 straight Final Fours with Simone Augustus and Sylvia Fowles, to Kim Mulkey being introduced 2 years ago to yesterday, where LSU wins the first national championship in basketball on both sides. And Patrick had the call, and there it was on the LSU Sports Radio Network, and he wakes up in Dallas this morning with the team as they get set to jump on a plane and get back to Baton Rouge at around 11:30 this morning, as they'll leave Dallas at around 10 a.m. Patrick, good morning. How are you?
Doing good, guys. Can't complain at all.
What a day, man. What a day. Just bring me to the moment yesterday. Let's start there before we talk about the season. What was yesterday like?
Well, it was a good day from the beginning because, first of all, it was kind of a celebration of women's basketball. You got an arena with 20,000 seats. Just about every one of them was full with fans from one team or the other. I think a lot of LSU fans found tickets after we won the game Friday and made their way to Dallas, and Iowa had a bunch of folks there. So it was a great atmosphere. And then, the game started a little bit uneven, gave away 3 quick turnovers, and Coach Mulkey called a quick timeout, and that seemed to right the ship. And then Jasmine Carson did the stuff that legends are made of, 21 points in the first half when, 3 of your starters on the bench in foul trouble, and then held on. Unfortunately, we built a big enough lead. You knew Iowa was going to make a run, but we held them off. And last night, the celebration here at the hotel and on the way back was just something else. To come from where not long ago where you couldn't get but a few hundred people to come to the games, now where you have 1,000 people at a hotel celebrating your national championship is just an amazing day that still hasn't quite sunk in yet. It's getting there. It's the day that none of us will ever forget. That's for sure.
Patrick, obviously you were in the room when they introduced Kim Mulkey as the next head coach a couple of years back, and she looked up at the banners and said, look, I see a lot of Final Four appearances, but I do not see a national championship. Tell me what it's been like to watch her program rise to the point that it ultimately hoisted the trophy yesterday. What has it been like to have your seat and point of view of her?
When I didn't know Coach Mulkey personally. I just watched her like a lot of us did from afar, and watched what she was able to do. But once you spend just even a few minutes around her, you see the type of person she is and the type of personality she is, the attention to detail. It becomes very obvious to you why she has won all the championships that she's won. And then you think, well, okay, this is going to take a few years. It's going to. There's no way around it, especially, after she guided last year's team to 26 wins. And a lot of them, 5 seniors, they moved on, and you got to build a roster together. And these are a group of kids that haven't known each other for a full year. June, July of last summer is when they all finally came together. And you're like, well, there's no way. It's not supposed to happen this way. It's not. You can't just throw a group of kids together who have a lot of talent and say, hey, let's go win a championship. And sometimes it takes a little bit of good fortune. You get some good draws in the tournament, and here we are. It just defies logic what she was able to do with the group this year that won the whole thing with a bunch of kids that didn't know each other a year ago.
Angel Reese is the best rebounder I've seen at this level, obviously. But you've called, Sylvia Fowles' game. I've seen Shaq play in person. I mean, at this level. I mean, she does and has a skill around that is very rare. What did you make of her play this season?
Well, she just sometimes certain kids just have to have that certain it, and she's got it. We're all born with special talents, and one of her special talents was figuring out how to get her way to a basketball after it bounces off her rim. It's amazing, the instinct that she has, and a little bit of preparation, but the amazing instinct to go with the physical. Because you got to be kind of tall, you got to be quick, you got to be able to, anticipate. So a lot of that's God given, but she works so hard at it and takes pride in it and loves to do it, and she came just a few rebounds short of the NCAA record for rebounds in a season. I think she came about 7 short. So she's the second best rebounder that the NCAA has ever seen in a season. Her scoring, the note that I kind of enjoy throwing around out there, Reese this year scored more points this season than Simone ever scored in a season, and she got more rebounds than Sylvia Fowles ever had in a season.
Wow.
She took the scoring from Simone, the rebounding of Sylvia, you put them together, and you got Angel Reese.
I mean, I'll take that. That's an incredible stat to judge that by. Bob Starkey is someone that I thought about as soon as the clock went final. Obviously, you've spent a lot of days with him and seen him at LSU during different points. How much does this mean to him from knowing him?
Oh, it means the world, and he was, a big part, obviously, of the 5 in a row we went to back in the 2000s. And there was a couple of those teams that should have won a championship, but they didn't. But I'm so happy for him out of everybody that he was able to come home and, and he came here with the purpose. He wanted to work with Coach Mulkey, obviously, but he wanted to win a championship, one that eluded us back in the heyday. And I think he would obviously tell you that he thought it was going to take a little longer. But, we talked yesterday a good bit, post-game show and otherwise, and he said, look, I got 1, let's get 2, let's get more now. But it's, and it looked until Coach Mulkey made that call to him last year to come home. He was content. He was going to be at Auburn. Auburn's in a rebuild situation. He said he was going to coach there 3 or 4 years, help them get back on their feet, and then he was going to retire. But when the call came from Coach Mulkey, and he was going to retire at Auburn, and he was never going to have won a national championship. Mm-hmm. But when the call came and he came home, that gave him a chance to do it, and here we are. Sure enough, it happened. He would tell you you'd be crazy to think it would have happened his first year back, but that's just kind of how sports are sometimes.
What are you expecting when y'all land?
I'm sorry, ask that again?
What are you expecting when y'all land in Baton Rouge this morning?
What am I expecting when we get back to Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a gathering in the PMAC at 12:30. They're trying to make, they don't want people to go to the airport. They want people who do want to see the team together in one place. It's 12:30 on a Monday on short notice with classes and people working and stuff. I expect there may be a couple thousand people show up.
No doubt.
I mean, it just everywhere we go, it's like I was talking to Coach Mulkey about this yesterday. It's like we're the Beatles, the modern day version of the Beatles. Mm-hmm. And it was a reference she understood. She was old enough to get it. And she said, yeah, it is a little bit like that. And the people always seem to find us, no matter what time of the day, what's going on. They find us, and I bet we'll have a really good crowd today.
Your journey began, and I know that you keep it around LSU women's sports and LSU women's basketball, but you're a part of this story, Patrick. 33 years ago, man, you and Sue Gunner, you went to her and obviously got this radio gig. Here you are today after calling a national championship game. What are your thoughts on Coach Gunner and just kind of everything you've seen to kind of cross the line like you did yesterday?
Well, obviously she was somebody who I thought about a good bit yesterday, and I know if she were down here with us and from up above, I believe she was really, really happy. that it was her dream to win a championship, and it never quite happened. Unfortunately, she didn't live long enough to see all the Final Fours, but she did see a couple, and I take comfort in the fact that when she did pass, she knew that the program was in good hands back then. Then, of course, we had a little spell where things weren't quite at that level. So I think she would be extremely thrilled to know that the program is in great hands again, that Bob is home, and that this program has become as wildly popular as it has in just a couple of years. And it makes me happy to know that she would be happy with how things look and how things turned out.
Feels like y'all are just getting started too. I mean, like it feels like this could be the start to a pretty magical run.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Patrick, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, man, I just wanted to tell you that yesterday was such a cool moment, and going back and listening to your call was special, man, because I know that that has been a lifelong passion of yours, and for it to come true of calling a national championship game for the Tigers, I know is something that you will take with you for a long, long time. Thank you for getting up and sharing some memories with us. Have a safe trip back, and look forward to seeing you and the crew back in Baton Rouge here in a little bit.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you for the time, and thank the listeners up in North Louisiana for following along. We appreciate it.
You got it. There he is, Patrick Wright, joining us here this morning, as Patrick was kind enough to join us after yesterday's national championship game and national championship call, as LSU was able to take care of business in a very, very special moment for not only Wright but for the program, as they take care and win the first program's national championship for Patrick Wright. 33 years, man. You got to think about what 33 years means in the history of that program, man. There's been a lot of down nights. There's been some high times, but Patrick Wright has been there and seen them all, and we appreciate him for sharing a couple of minutes with us here today. Remember, Premier South Roofing and Sheet Metal brings you our show every day, PremierSouthLA.com, and if you're in the listening area of Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, North Shore, coming soon to Alabama, you can simply log online to PremierSouthLA.com, PremierSouthLA.com, and get connected with Louisiana's premier roofing experts. Remember, they can help you with commercial roofing, residential roofing, metal roofing, roof repair, roof maintenance. If your commercial building needs metal roofing, you can get in touch with Premier South Roofing at PremierSouthLA.com, PremierSouthLA.com. Let them tell you about solar paneling as well. They are experts in that field and can show you and teach you or tell you how your roof can actually pay you if you qualify. Odds are you do. Get in touch with PremierSouthLA.com, PremierSouthLA.com. Residential roofing, commercial roofing, metal roofing, roof repair, roof maintenance, gutter, and awnings. They can help you with all of it. Get in touch with them today. Remember, anywhere along the Gulf South, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, North Shore, coming soon, like we said, in Alabama. PremierSouthLA.com, PremierSouthLA.com. We'll be back, close out hour one. We're going to talk to Ben McDonald. Big Ben was on the call for the network over the weekend with LSU taking 2 of 3 from the Volunteers. What'd he see? We'll obviously talk to him a little bit about LSU women's basketball, as he is a former hooper at LSU as well. So come back with us. The Carpool Queen is here. We've got hour 2 coming at you here shortly. Jordy Culotta Show, built by RMB Builders. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done. Corrects done. Personal injury done. Workers' comp done. Truck wrecks done. Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculotta.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com.
Hey, she's on her way up.
Hey, G, I got you something.
Hey, Coach, what do you think? Is this too much?
If you look good, you play good.
All right, then. Let's get it done.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, as we are built and powered every day by RMB Builders. Remember our friends over at RMB, get in touch with them on Instagram, as you can keep up with them there. All right, so the Carpool Queen is here.
Hi.
Good morning. How are we doing? We're going to talk to Ben McDonald coming up here in a couple of minutes, as LSU took 2 of 3 from Tennessee over the weekend, sets up a week ahead that has Nichols in town tomorrow night, and they will travel to South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks this weekend.
What's Nichols look like?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anybody know?
I don't know if it matters.
I mean, yeah, probably not. I just always wonder.
And no disrespect to Nichols.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just wonder if they're any good this year.
LSU is
LSU
is
Make
awesome.
a game of it.
All right, Katie, give me your rundown. What do you
Oh
think
my
about
gosh, I
last night?
cried.
You
Did y'all cry?
cried?
I can watching Kim Mulkey
cried.
when she started crying. Like I couldn't help it.
What was the source?
It was sad.
Just happy.
Yeah, happy cry,
Yeah,
right? And her emotion. I don't know if y'all watch. I mean, I
did.
love
It was
watching
amazing.
post game stuff. Yeah, her emotion just before the buzzer. I mean, with
A
even
little
it
too
was a
early.
little premature. It was a little premature.
I mean, they showed her tearing up. I was like, Coach,
Coach, we still got time left.
This could be. This could go down as an all timer here if you better wipe those things away here and close this game out.
I know that worried.
We got to set our defense, Coach. Clark's pulling
free
from
throws and defense here, man. Like
Clark's getting the inbound and pulling up.
Which, by the way, Caitlin Clark looks just like Pistol Pete.
You just said that. It's amazing.
Don't you think?
Yes.
I did not think it
give me
until
a Pistol.
now.
Pistol Pete's got that little kind of plug nose.
Yeah.
He's got like a big forehead. I don't want to break it, but I mean, they look.
They look similar.
They look very similar.
That is weird.
And she's a beast.
She really is.
She's an animal, bro.
She is. She's unbelievable.
I mean, the way the ball goes through the net to me shows you the efficiency of a shooter.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody tells you that guy's just a natural shooter or she's a natural shooter in basketball, you got to watch the way the ball goes through the net. To me, is a clear indicator of that she is a natural shooter.
She's unbelievable.
I mean, bro, the net doesn't even move when it goes. It's got the Steph Curry.
That's what I was gonna say. She
Where
is very similar to Steph Curry.
through
Her
the
style,
net and it strips the net.
I know.
But
that sound,
but even the way she plays, coming off the screens,
absolutely. And when she gets an open look, she'll start running back down the floor when she lets it go because she knows.
Yeah,
bench stands up. You know what I mean? When she lets it.
Perfect. She played on a boys AAU team.
I believe it.
Growing up,
I believe
because
it.
there was no girls team that
check her.
Could handle her.
Yeah,
so she played on this boys team, and I read that all the parents on the boys team were always mad.
Oh, I'm sure
that she was
That's
on there because
Simone.
she was better than most of them.
Simone used to do that.
Yeah.
So, around Baton Rouge when she was growing up, there wasn't the, structured women's program like there is now that she could go play with.
Yeah.
And so she just started playing with the best boys team, and 3 weeks in, they were drawing plays up for her at the end of the game, and all the parents are like, what's the deal? They're she's the best player on the team.
Yeah.
She's the best player in the league.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It
she
was.
Is.
That's just there's just sometimes there's difference.
I know.
There's a huge difference, and she's different.
Did y'all sit back though at any moment in this and think about this is, and no disrespect to women's sports obviously at all, but this is women's college basketball, and look at what is happening to it this year. I've never watched so much women's basketball in my life.
Ratings are incredible.
Unbelievable.
And look, I think that it has a lot to do with the parity of it. And look, Kim Mulkey has put herself into the class and into the discussion of, in my opinion, Gino Auriemma and Pat Summitt, right? Auriemma has an incredibly 11 national championships up at UConn. And Pat Summitt was able to win 8 at Tennessee, which is incredible, right? I mean, like just amazing numbers, right? But when you talk about what Kim Mulkey has done, first coach in college basketball history, women's college basketball history, to win a national championship at 2 different Division I schools, of course, winning 3 at Baylor and her first last night at LSU, to me kind of sets her a sail into a class that will almost be alone, right? Because what you can see, Auriemma, he cannot maintain here now in the NIL transfer portal world, right? Storrs, Connecticut is just not as attractive as South Beach, Miami is, right? I mean, there's a reason why Miami's got a couple of teams in the Elite 8 and the Final 4. And you got Florida Atlantic playing in the Final 4. You know, I mean, this is all things that are relative to transfer portal and NIL. And it's pretty obvious that, you know, Auriemma doesn't have the same sales pitch as he once did. And, you know, I thought Kim Mulkey's answer last night about Angel Reese on whether or not she would be coming back was as embracive of an NIL coach that you could see. And a lot of the questions that are geared at Mulkey are kind of, you know, there's a little undertone of, why are you like this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, why do you let Angel Reese get away with this? She's like, well, I mean, I let her be herself. And I draw the boundary, and as long as she doesn't step outside of it, I allow her to be who she is. And I think when people hear that in recruiting, I mean, Angel Reese's answer all night has been, why did you play for Kim Mulkey? What was it about Kim Mulkey? Why did you transfer to LSU? And she said she's just real with me. She just shoots me straight. She's hard on me. She's tough on me. She yells at me. She keeps me, you know, accountable. But she also allows me to be who I am. Right? And in today's college sports atmosphere, you got to be able to adapt. Like, if you can't, you know, if you can't kind of change to, you know, Jay Johnson's great at that. He's great at being a you know, kind of a modern day college baseball coach, where he understands that these guys have they've got outside interests. You know, they got personalities. They've got, you know, things that they have to be, they got to be on time for. All right, Ben McDonald is in the chat. We're going to catch up with Big Ben here. If he's ready and he can hear us, we can just slide right into it, Stu, if you want to here. As we will get back to some national championship discussion, but want to gear our conversation to what LSU baseball accomplished over the weekend. And we can talk to Big Ben about that, about Jay Johnson and his managing style. As do we have Ben lined up? There he is. There he is. Former number 1 pick, Golden Spikes winner, and of course from the SEC network, Baltimore Orioles radio and television network, and an all-time great with LSU. Big Ben, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How you guys doing this morning?
Tell me your first thoughts on Kim Mulkey winning a national championship for the LSU ladies program.
Wow. Probably a year early.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll take it down here in Baton Rouge, but probably a year early. I think most people, and I think Coach Mulkey felt like probably next year was going to be their best chance to win. But, you know, when you get to the NCAA tournament and things start clicking and this team really came together, not that it wasn't together all year long, but I think halfway through the year, I don't think anybody thought South Carolina could be beat, and they handled LSU pretty good during the regular season, and yet they don't make it to the championship game. And it came together. I mean, Coach Mulkey is, I mean, we knew that she was one of the best in the business. She proved that this year. Next year, I think that they got a great chance of doing it again, although it's very difficult to repeat. But, yeah, I mean, look, she's all I can say about Coach Mulkey, and I knew her and had started hearing about her when I was in junior high here in Denham Springs. There's this little blonde point guard about 15 miles east of me that was winning state championships, and it was a talk around Denham Springs what was going on out in Hammond, Louisiana. And then I followed her career, obviously, to Tech, where she won a national championship, coached the national championship as an assistant, and, of course, won the gold medal, and on to Baylor that she went. And so she's just a winner, you know, and she figures out a way to pull it all together, keep her kids under control at the right time. And I love what you were saying about the personalities. It's very difficult to juggle personalities today. There's a very fine line you walk when you coach kids today and letting them be themselves, but also reining them in some ways. I go back to Tony Vitalo in Tennessee last year in baseball, who by far had the best team in the country. But for me, it got a little bit sideways. And Tony would say that I let them be themselves because they're good kids. They go to class. They make great grades. They're involved in the community. But I also think, man, it is a fine line you walk because that team got a little bit out of hand in the Super Regional and got beat by Notre Dame last year. So it's difficult to coach today. There's no doubt about that. But Kilmulkey's one of the best in the business.
What do you make of Jay Johnson and the way he manages this number one team with a ton of personalities as well?
Man, he's got the pulse of this team. I was worried. It was a good problem for Jay to have, right? Because Jay arguably has the most talented roster all in college baseball. And now with the transfer portal being what it is, how do you make everybody happy? How do you get enough playing time? Do you have the right character kids to know that maybe you not play very much this year, but if you'll hang in there for a year with me, learn as much as you can, you're going to be one of my dudes next year. I think Jay's had the pulse of this roster and this team, the makeup of this team. It seems like they are just driven to put LSU back in the forefront of college baseball. I mean, these kids, I think, have grasped the idea that this is our chance. This is a very talented roster. And if we keep it together, we all pull in the right direction, we could do something very, very special. It's been very workmanlike for LSU. They've gone out and they've taken care of business against three very, very good teams in conference play so far.
Take me back to Thursday night. Ben, you were on the call for a big one with a couple of aces on both sides in Tennessee and LSU that had a lot of firepower. What did you make of that Thursday night game one atmosphere and the way that it played out?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was stars everywhere. And, you talked about the pitching matchup. Chase Dollander, Tennessee, the SEC Pitcher of the Year, expected to be probably the first pick in the country when the season began versus Paul Skeens, who everybody knew was going to be a heck of a pitcher at LSU. I don't think anybody thought that he would do the things that he has done. I don't think anybody saw, an average fastball the last 2 weekends of 99 miles an hour. I mean, Paul Skeens is doing, to put it in perspective for your viewers, there's not one major league starting pitcher out there right now that is averaging 99 miles per hour. That's what Paul Skeens is doing. It's something we've never seen in the college game. Wow. He's up to 102 the last 2 weekends. So I don't think anybody saw that coming. People are saying, well, why has the velocity picked up 5 miles per hour from last year? I think it's a lot of different things, right? I think he's focused on pitching only. He's always been a two-way player. Now it's all his efforts goes into pitching now. He's not at the Air Force Academy anymore. Where everybody forgets those kids are up at 5 o'clock in the morning doing Air Force things, right? And then whatever time you have left over, you could use that on the athletic side, but you're doing Air Force things first. He doesn't have to do that anymore. So he's focused, and all of his efforts are going into pitching. Then you add Wes Johnson, your pitching coach. Mechanically, he's as sound as he's ever been. But, yeah, I mean, it was a big-time pitching matchup, the best we've seen in college baseball. Obviously, Paul Skeens dominated that show, although Dollander was really good too. Dylan Cruz continues to be, for me, the best position player in the entire country. And it was just a really good game. I mean, there was an error made that extended the inning, and Jordan Thompson, as we all know, I was as hard on Jordan Thompson last year as anybody was. I felt like defensively he really struggled last year. He wasn't very good, but I'm so happy for that kid because he worked his tail off, man. People on social media were killing him last year, and yet he continued to work his tail off, and now he's become one of the best shortstops both defensively and offensively in the SEC. He gets the big bases clearing double in the bottom of the 8th inning with 2 out. That was the big blow on Thursday night. Of course, LSU won on Saturday, and then Tennessee. It's hard to sweep. It is hard to sweep in this league, and Tennessee's a really good team, and so they won Game 3 of this. But 2 out of 3 against Tennessee at home, that's mission accomplished.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because you mentioned it is tough to sweep in this league, man. There's a lot of really good teams. But is it a big deal that LSU hasn't yet?
Well, I'm going to say no because of who they opened up with, right? You opened up against Texas A&M, who's a top 5 team at the time. Arkansas is a top 5 team at the time. Then you get Tennessee, who was the number 2 team in the country when the season began. So LSU's meat part of its schedule, if you go look, is in the first 4 or 5 series, right? Now, listen, anybody can beat you. Anybody can beat you in this league. We know that. We saw what Missouri, who everybody picked dead last, swept Tennessee opening weekend. Nobody saw that coming. So anybody can beat you. But I would argue that LSU's toughest part of its schedule is its first 5 series versus its last 5 series. I think if you look at the teams that are out of the gate quickly, I'm not going to take anything away from Vanderbilt and South Carolina, but Vanderbilt's had a pretty good run. They opened up against Ole Miss and Mississippi State, who are struggling this year. Then Vanderbilt played Georgia this past weekend, who's not a very good team either. So they start off 9-0. And not taking anything away from Vandy, but the meat part of their schedule will come as they get into South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida at the end, and Arkansas. So I think this thing's kind of go back and forth. LSU's had some opportunities to sweep. Couldn't do it. You'd like to see a sweep somewhere along the way because you know that you could have a hiccup and only win one, go 1-2 on a particular weekend. But I think, look, in this league, if you average 2 wins a weekend and you win 20 games in the SEC schedule, that's a hell of a year.
Ben, you and Todd Walker sit in a class, at least for my generation of fandom, that seemed like it was always untouchable. People around the program and that follow LSU baseball now that say Cruz already has a seat at y'all's table. Do you believe that?
Listen, I do. If he continues to have the kind of year that he's having this year, and look, he's not going to hit 500. I mean, he's hitting 530 something or 540, whatever it is. I mean, I hope he does. But in SEC play, the batting averages tend to go down, although his has not gone down yet. It's going up, which is a crazy thing. That's how good he's been. But yeah, if people ask me that all the time here in the last year or two, if I talk about complete position players at LSU, it's hard not to put him right at the top of the list. I mean, I thought Mikey Matuk was as good a center fielder I ever saw at LSU, and Mikey could hit too, but he didn't hit the way that Cruz hit. Andy Furtis was maybe the best college hitter I ever saw, but yet he didn't affect the glove side of the game like Cruz can affect center field and plays an elite center field. So when you look at the full package of being able to defend, throw, run, hit for power, it's hard to say that he's not the best position player to come through LSU, and he's doing it in a BB Corbett era. Now, the balls are absolutely flying this year, and that's a different conversation. I think home runs are up 14% this year, and we're on pace for the all-time mark in college baseball, even going back to the Gorilla Ball days as far as total home runs. But Dylan Cruz, for me, has proved himself. If the draft was held today, it would be him and Paul Skeens 1 or 2, whatever order you want to put it in. And the things that Paul Skeens was doing on the mound, we've not seen at LSU either right now. I mean, Paul Skeens is dominating on the mound. I think it's 80-something. He leads the nation in strikeouts, 44 to 30, 80-something strikeouts. It's a ridiculous number right now. So it's pretty special in LSU baseball right now when you talk about the 1 and 2. For me right now, if the draft was held, players are going to go 1 and 2.
Speaking of balls jumping out, Gavin Dugas, Ben, the ball he hit on Thursday night still seems like it's flying into the night, but every chance he gets, he's answering here early on. Got to feel good for a kid like Dugas, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, all the things he's been through, his freshman year he played a lot, then there was a lot of injuries along the way, and he's on and off the field, and then this year going to be his final year, 5th year senior, and he starts to have the eye issues, and nobody knew what was going on. He was swinging and missing and foul ball. They sent him to the eye doctor, and all of a sudden he's got an eye condition that's very, very serious. And the truth is his career was in jeopardy whether he would ever play again. He had a procedure done. They got his eyesight back. He didn't take many reps during the fall or even leading up to the spring because he couldn't see the baseball. Well, they got him fixed up now. Now, he's got to go back every 2 weeks and get his eyes checked because they say the condition that he has, his eyes, his prescription on his contact that he has in one eye could actually change week by week. And so he's got to continue to go back and do that. And then he takes on a position this year that he played very little his freshman year, the infield, and yet he's come to the infield for LSU and looks really good. So I'm so happy for Gavin Dugas. He's sitting right in that top spot. He's a guy that's going to get on base a lot. But, yeah, he can blow it out of the ballpark, too. And that's kind of where we are in the college game now. These kids that have these 5 years of experience, these older teams like Notre Dame that we mentioned earlier last year that knocked off Tennessee, those are what you need in college baseball now is the older players sprinkled in with a lot of talent. Seems to be a recipe for success right now. So happy for Gavin Dugas, no doubt about that.
Ben, last one, I get you out of here. You mentioned the Mississippi schools were down this season. What do you make of the league overall?
It's a shocker. I thought, when the season began this year, I thought from top to bottom, 1 through 14, we had, arguably the closest talent that we've had at the SEC. And yet we get 5 sweeps opening weekend, which I didn't see that coming. Nobody did. I still think the league is very, very good. Obviously, it proves it in the rankings and where they are. But it's a shocker that our 2 national champions of the last 2 years, you talk about Ole Miss and Mississippi State, have combined to win 2 conference games. They're 2-16 right now. So that's a little bit of a shocker. But on the opposite side, I would tell you, Vanderbilt being 8-1, South Carolina, who was a below-average team last year, 8-1 in SEC play. Florida 7-2. On the other side of that ball, if you will, are some teams that are performing at a very high level that we didn't see coming either. So the SEC is going to be a dog. It's going to be a drag. It always is. It's a 30-game grind, and I think right now we're in a position to potentially have 10 teams get into the NCAA tournament, which would be a record.
Wow. That Orioles lineup looks nuclear, Ben.
Well, it's the strength of the Orioles last year was its pitching and defense. So far this year, it's not been the strength. The pitchers give up a lot of runs, and defense is making some uncharacteristic errors. But it is a young lineup for the Orioles, and you talk about Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman and Mateo, and Mullins is off to a good start. There's a lot to like about the Oriole lineup, but they're in that gauntlet of the AL East, and you're playing the monsters of the Yankees and the Blue Jays and the Rays. It's a very tough division. The Red Sox that have a lot of money, so that's kind of where the Orioles are a little bit under when it comes to spending money. But I'm hoping as the years go by, the next couple of years, they begin to spend a little bit more money and kind of get in line with everybody else, or at least close to it. But it's a fun team to watch, and I'm heading that way tomorrow, actually, to start calling some Oriole games. So I'm looking forward to that. Safe
travels. There's the legend, Big Ben McDonald. We will catch up with you again soon. Thank you as always.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. There he is. Big Ben checking in this morning before he takes off to Baltimore, starting his MLB duties as we're talking a little SEC and LSU baseball there with Ben. It's interesting to hear his take on Dylan Cruz. I mean, I think that Ben McDonald and Todd Walker, at least for my maybe Eddie Furness, but as you heard Ben break it down there, have always kind of sat in a class of their own when talking about LSU baseball. Ben for sure, but to hear that the respect that Cruz has from that crowd already is pretty telling. That conversation brought to you by Katie's Restaurant, neighborhood restaurant and bar located in New Orleans, the heart of New Orleans, over there on Iberville Street. Since 1984, a phenomenal menu that you can read all about online at katiesinmidcity.com, katiesinmidcity.com. Go see our friend Scott Craig. He can get you set up today as he's the best, man. A neighborhood restaurant for the entire city. They also have their sister restaurant, Francesca's by Katie's, which is located over there in Lakeview. You can find out more information online at katiesinmidcity.com, katiesinmidcity.com. Appreciate everybody starting their week here with us. We see a lot of you sitting inside of the chat right there. Make sure and hit that like button for us, the comment button, and share button if you don't mind. We'll be right back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, powered every day, built by RMB Builders. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done. Corrects done. Personal injury done. Workers' comp done. Truck wrecks done. Get Gordon and get it done. Get Gordon and get it done.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show as we are built every day by RMB Builders. Tonight's matchup of the Natty, well, first off, thanks to Ben McDonald and to Patrick Wright for stopping by here and talking, obviously, LSU women's basketball with P. Diddy, who's been on the call for 33 years for LSU women's hoops, and for it to culminate like it did yesterday. And then, of course, Big Ben. Ben McDonald talking some LSU baseball and league play here with us last segment. So make sure and catch that on demand or a part of our podcast today. Please subscribe to the podcast if you have not already, and make sure that you have subscribed to our YouTube channel if you are here for the first time, or if you are back as a reoccurring visitor and have not subscribed yet. Please hit that subscribe button. All right, Carpool Queen.
Doesn't it kind of feel like March Madness is over now? But it's
yes.
not. Kind of. We still have the men.
We're kind of entering the, if you're a sports fan,
it's gonna
kind of a nervous moment. But LSU baseball is good.
That's right.
Yeah. So as long as LSU's baseball team is good, the spring and summer is usually pretty quick around here because it kind of keeps you engaged.
When we have spring game and things like that, football.
It sounds like BK's trying to get out of the spring game. I don't know if Brian Kelly wants to play this spring game, man. I don't think he wants to play
the spring game thing. They'll speak up around there. I don't know.
Right? You have to play
contractually
the game.
You do, but I think he's trying to look and see if he can find a loophole somewhere that I think they're trying to use the team's health as a big component of not going on the SEC network and showing Tuscaloosa, College Station, and Fayetteville what they've been doing for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it's more of that.
I think that's really kind of what it comes down to is that, look,
I can see BK on the phone with like Greg Sankey, like, look, Sank, we got 5 offensive
linemen. You can come over and film us doing some individuals.
Yeah, we look.
You know what I mean?
We'll give you all the
go
tape
through a couple of passing trees for you. We'll let you see how big and strong Jaden Daniels has gotten over the last couple of weeks, but that's for the game.
Well, they got to show the fans here something, right? So what will it be? There's like an open practice or something like that?
Yeah, it'll be cool.
A glorified spring game?
A glorified scrimmage.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, like, thud, stop on the whistle. You know what I mean?
Like Pro Bowl type
nobody's
stuff.
taking anybody to the ground. In fact, put these flags on, boys.
That would be amazing.
Put those turtle shells back on.
Right. Put your helmets up. Speaking of helmets, UConn looks like if they got into football pads, their football team would dominate.
Jeez,
man,
they are impressive. I know San Diego State won in dramatic fashion, and that was a very March Madness ending for the Aztecs as they closed out Florida Dominion, which was Florida Atlantic, which was a fantastic finish, right? Where balls blocked on one end, dribbled out. San Diego State's got a timeout in the pocket. Coach lets him play. Ball kind of gets knocked out of his hands in the short corner. He steps back for a 12-footer and bang, knocks it down and sends his team, San Diego State, to I believe it was Lofton, who knocked down the shot. He sent his team to the championship. But then you watch UConn play.
Jesus.
And UConn and Miami rolled it out. And UConn, look, don't get me wrong, man. I thought Miami was really impressive at certain points during the run. They're long, they're athletic. Yes, they are impressive.
The Wong kid's been there for like 3 or 4 years.
Yes, he was a player of the year last year. And UConn, they were playing with Miami. Yeah. Like they were toying with Miami. And I just I do not see a scenario on how UConn.
Well, they led from the start, right? Did Miami ever lead?
Never,
yeah.
Katie. Like
it got ugly at one point.
And sat if you saw UConn play up close, you would be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is an NBA team.
This is over. I don't know what we were thinking that you could play with it.
Yeah,
I think that San Diego State's in for a long night. And San Diego State is from a physical standpoint, they're probably the only team in America that could really go toe-to-toe with them.
Yeah, they got that lockdown defense. They're good.
And they're strong. They look like a football team a little bit.
Yeah, there's a reason these two teams made it.
It's
not who we thought was going to make it.
They turn the ball over way too much. They can't score. And if you do that against UConn, bro, they're going to embarrass you. That cat swinging from the rim on Saturday.
When they get out and running, it's ugly.
That looked like Rucker Park.
I know.
That looked like a pickup game, man. That was Saban would have been like, timeout. Give us those two guys. Y'all take these two. So let's play. I'm going to smoke it. I'm going to burn one real quick. Let's switch these teams up, and then we'll be back.
This would be their 5th national championship since 2014.
Yeah, UConn. I think UConn is kind of they're a blue blood.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
San Diego State has never made it past the Sweet 16.
Right.
So it's pretty cool for them.
Yeah. No, this is good.
It'll be a good game. It'll be
this
exciting.
is cute.
It
for
is
the
cute.
Aztecs.
It's really cute.
You know what I mean? But UConn is rolling up here with, what feels like the 97 Bulls.
Yeah, I've got UConn.
Right. I don't know. This feels like betting against the Patriots with Brady. This feels like, it feels like betting against Alabama early in the Saban days. This is just not. But, I could be the kiss of death as well. I've liked a lot of guarantees and locks that I've woken up the next day to see get blown out. But, this UConn, they're scary.
They are scary.
If you're matching up against them, you're thinking, when does it stop?
Yeah.
They're so deep. They're long. They're athletic. Dude, they're just.
Dickie V with a video about UConn.
No. Who does he like?
Oh, Lord. He likes UConn, right?
God, I'm sure he likes UConn.
Great.
He had to make a video about it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
A few thoughts.
How was the weekend?
Old Dickie. It was good. We had track meet, gym meet, the usual stuff.
First thing I did when I showed up this morning was give Katie my excuse on backing out of the
You did. The chat's going to be excited to hear you say that because they were all calling it last week that you were going to back out. And
if I had to put money on it, I probably would have put money on it.
When I got the word,
go ahead and tell them why.
When I got the word on Saturday that there was actually another basketball tournament that had been scheduled out of town in Pensacola for the weekend of the 15th and the 16th. I thought for sure this was a joke. I thought it was an April Fool's joke when I heard it on Saturday. It was not, Katie. And I was very depressed, and it's been kind of a long weekend.
What? Because of that?
Well, I've just been nervous to show up to have to tell you that.
Oh.
Because I think it was very predictable.
That's sweet that you felt that way.
I think that you were anticipating this day.
I wasn't really.
She was waiting on it.
Wasn't.
But I think you were probably. I think you were probably more anticipating April 14th at around 7:30 p.m. of me backing out of the April 15th event.
Been crappy. Look, Cordell said he was the first to call it. He was.
That's right, Cordell.
He was in the chat. He was in the chat saying that last week.
You know me.
But that's all right. We're still good. I'll get a I'll get a sub.
Hunter Fournette, Jordy, quit being a perpetual flake. I cannot. Jeff and Kenner, Jordy, UConn is only a 7-point favorite. Jeff, only. It's the national championship game. I mean, like, usually this number's around 1.5 to 3. 7 sounds like it. I mean, even Vegas knows it.
It's a touchdown.
I mean, 7 points.
What time's this game? I think it's like
probably 2 in the morning.
It's late.
It's like 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, so around 8. So that's not 9:20 Eastern time.
I'm out.
Dang.
Probably sleeping.
8:20. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's not horrible.
It's been
That's
worse.
not horrible. I mean, I guess what's that? 10:30 in time.
Where are they playing? Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Central time.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's a long day for them.
Yeah.
So
like
when
waiting.
do the women come back today? And there's like
Yes, they're back
event?
at 11:30.
There's
There
an event
is
for them?
an event on campus that I believe scheduled at 12:30. Is that what Patrick said?
12:30. Yes.
Is there going to be like a parade or
I'm
anything?
sure. Oh, I'm sure.
Fine.
But how?
I'm sure.
See, my thing
Andrew
is.
Messina, get Lloyd to MC the furball.
Oh
gosh.
God. How?
It's just to introduce the actual MCs. It's not actually
well,
MCing.
you should get Lloyd
so.
to do it.
You see, it's not that
Lloyd's
big.
coming, so he could. He could
Really?
jump up there. Yeah. He and Rebecca are coming.
See?
He could jump up there.
Oh, you might as well let Lloyd do it.
I'm sure they would love that. They might.
But it's gonna be a weird like weekend because it's Easter this weekend. So like if they did have the celebration parade this
they'll have
weekend,
to do it before Friday.
Yeah, I think you'd probably do just like a Thursday. I mean, like they might have to shut down school one day.
yeah,
Well, I mean, nobody is in school Friday. It's Good Friday.
yeah, but like
This Friday.
Yeah, but students are traveling.
yeah, people
Yeah.
are going.
Yeah,
So
they'll
you
have
probably
to do it
want it
this week.
before.
Mhm.
I wish I would have gone to the PMAC last night to watch it, honestly. Did
Yeah,
y'all
it
see
looked-
the
it looked
crowd
crazy.
there? That looked fun.
Oh,
that
no, I'm
was
sure
really
it
cute
was
that they
cool.
did that.
Yeah, that was probably fun, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we barbecued.
Really?
Yeah, we were
I saw that
barbecuing.
on Instagram. I saw Ron's the meat spread.
Hey.
Whoa, Katie! I have to tell Ron. Let Ron
I
know.
saw all Ron's meat on Instagram.
Katie wants to
think
taste
that's a
your meat,
different
Ron.
Jeez. Kind of got lost in the moment there.
It looked like y'all had a good spread.
Hey.
Oh, all right, okay.
Anyway,
Any more meals you want to break down from the weekend?
Yeah.
I wish I would have gone to watch it at the PMAC. I think that would have been really exciting. And then I would have had to cry in public. Like I could privately cry in my own house.
Like ball tears?
I didn't bawl, but
I
like
feel like-
tears came out. Yes.
I feel like she was
watching Kim Mulkey. I mean,
At what
that
moment?
emotion. Right when she started. Right when I saw her face like crumble.
I mean,
that's when it started for me.
I didn't even cry after LSU won the Natty. Like I was like, this is
Oh, you
cool.
didn't?
It was just a great moment.
Oh man,
It just
David
felt
did. I have it
good.
on video.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah.
jeez,
It's one of the best videos I have. I
that
just turned the
is-
camera to
Is
him
he
and
an
I
LSU
could see
baseball
the
fan?
David. Yeah,
Like,
he's an LSU everything fan.
no, but like a real baseball fan?
I don't know if he would
No.
cry over baseball, but he cries over football, and he had tears when we beat Alabama this year
Oh jeez.
too, and I got that on video as well.
That was just a cool like day.
That was,
That was-
yeah, that tugs at him, but I'm not sure if he would cry over a baseball natty.
Baseball and Natty is different. We're like,
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about like the true 1%er baseball fans.
Yeah.
oh jeez.
No, I don't think he's that because he knows
They'll
that
be
they
like
exist.
crying in front of Skip's picture right
Oh,
there.
dude,
like,
kneeling.
I love you.
Hat off.
It is a different type of fan. I still am trying to wrap my head around that.
Oh.
I'm trying to understand it, I
They're
guess.
different.
Why it is so different. Why is that? Is it just that generation?
I think
and
so.
like when they go away,
Yeah.
are there other younger baseball fans that are like that?
I don't know. I can't speak for. I would assume so. I mean, I went to the box on Thursday night. It looked very healthy.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, like it was.
Baseball's in a good place.
Like, baseball looks like it's in good hands. I mean, as far as the fan base goes, but I mean, yeah, I think that there is a section of the crowd that definitely has been around for, you know, it's just it's just the old heads. That's all it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it really is.
It's kind of sad. Like I feel like could that go away? Like would it be different?
You know, I mean, they could die off.
Well, yeah, I
you
know
know?
they're going to at some point.
I mean, I hate to be
know.
morbid, but I mean, that's the issue.
They're
that
gonna die.
I mean,
They're old. That's what
that's
old
the issue
people
that
do.
Major League Baseball is dealing with. That's why I
That's
support
true.
these rule changes.
Same.
You know what I mean? Like I saw where the average runtime on opening day games for Major League Baseball was under 3 hours. Well, there you go. All right. I mean, now you're talking. I mean, now you're getting into a point where like people can sit down, pay attention, and like go to the game. Nobody's going to a 4 hour, sitting through a 4.5 hour broadcast. I mean, it's just not happening anymore. And I mean, they were seeing, you know, numbers where, you know, sub 45 years old, nobody cares.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody.
I know.
Nobody.
That's scary.
I mean, like the fact that Mike Trout could walk. He could walk down Venice Beach.
Yeah.
And nobody would stop him. I mean, it's
Isn't that
telling. I
weird?
mean, he's the best player in the game.
And that's changed just from when like you and I were young.
Yes.
I mean,
we were the generation where America's pastime switched from baseball to football.
yeah, you're right.
Because baseball lost touch with us.
Yeah,
They
it
lost
did.
touch with us. They stayed in touch with our dads. They were like this with our
Right.
grandfathers.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I
Right.
mean? But they lost us in just, they thought, I don't know if they became arrogant in the sense of they just thought that it would naturally kind of like osmosis its way into your family.
Yeah.
Like they're watching, you're watching.
Yeah.
And it didn't work like that. And they've lost a generation of multiple generations
Oh, that's so wild.
of fan bases that now they're even realizing like internally, like, okay, we've got to adapt.
Yeah.
Like this is, we're about a decade too late, but we got to do this.
Right.
Like,
But
we gotta-
more so in MLB, right? Do you feel like than college baseball?
Oh, definitely. No, definitely. But I think that, college baseball is definitely an experimental ground for
Yeah.
Major League Baseball changes. Right? I mean, there's things that you can implement into a college game to see how it works.
Yeah.
And then ultimately try and play it out on a Major League Baseball stage. I mean, look, their issue is time. I mean, that's you have to consolidate. You got to crunch the time.
Right.
Right? I mean, like that's the deal. People are losing focus, patience. Nobody's sitting through. Nobody's sitting and waiting. I mean, it's just, people get their news on Twitter.
I know.
I mean, that's, can I see the highlights in a minute and a half, or do I need to go sit at the game
Exactly.
for 4 hours?
I wonder what that's done, the impact financially has been. It has to be pretty big,
For them
right?
to be making changes?
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous. I mean, that's what ultimately change is made off of in a firm, in an organization like that. They've been making so much money for so long just by rolling the ball out there. Just by saying, look, it's opening day.
Yeah.
Sell tickets.
Right.
And people just show up.
Uh-huh.
Where they've gotten now to, the demographic that is now buying tickets and spending money, and they're saying, I'll go watch a soccer game. And Major League Baseball's
that's
like,
true.
huh? They're like, yeah. I mean, I'm going to sit at a baseball game. It cost us $300 to walk in. It cost us $100 to eat.
Well, because you got to eat like 2 meals. You're there
Yeah, I mean,
for
it-
at least
it's
2
just-
meals worth of the day.
It's just, that's where sports is going. I
Yeah.
think that's where, obviously, college, the pitch clock. Stuff
Right.
like that. I mean, it's.
I love all the new rules,
too.
honestly. I mean, I know there have been a lot of controversy surrounding them, but I'm a fan of them. It helps.
Stephen Miller,
Get through
it's
a
for the
game.
ADHD microwave fans. Yeah, I know, Steve, but that's a generation
Yeah.
of people. I don't think it's just sports fans. I mean, you see, companies, industries, cutting down on their time spent with people, in certain areas. I mean, it's just about getting to point A to point B as fast as possible. And I think, ultimately that's kind of what Twitter is. What happened last night?
Right.
Boom, I got it. Thank you. It's just, that's what people are trained to do now. I mean, that's how people have been trained to consume and get their information.
Yeah, it's hard for me to sit through an entire baseball game. And I'm definitely not watching an entire game on TV.
No way. No way.
No way.
No chance.
How can you?
I mean, the last game that I went to in person, Jordan and I walked around the stadium for 2 innings.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to get up.
Yeah.
Let's go
I
see some
know.
stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's just built for a certain type of fan.
It is.
And
But I can remember going to games when I was younger, like MLB games, and doing that. Like, it was an all-day thing. You spent the day there at that ballpark.
No doubt about it.
But it was so cool, and it was
a,
packed.
Yeah, it was just a different, there wasn't as many options.
Right.
There wasn't as many draws where you can just say, hey, we can go here right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the way that life has changed. Sports had to adapt, and Major League Baseball has been, without question, the last to do it. It has been just very difficult for them to make that change.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're doing it now tells me more than anything that they're being affected.
Yeah.
Somehow the bottom line is getting hit enough for them to say, okay, we gotta implement some of these rule changes.
Right.
You know, I mean, people are dying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's what's really happening to baseball's fan base.
I know.
I mean, the nucleus of Major League Baseball's fan base is 65 to 80 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that is opening
wild.
the newspaper, reading the box score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like
Mike Trout had 2 hits last night.
Yeah, right. Tell you what,
Like,
this
we
Trout
already know
kid's
that
pretty
because
good.
we saw it immediately on Twitter when it happened.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Or
you
a
just
meme
saw
about it
You
or
saw the
something.
highlight of it happening probably 10 seconds
Yes.
after he hit the home run. You swiped,
Yeah.
your feed refreshed, you saw the home run, and you just moved
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And
That's
now
all I
you
need to
know, like, the Angels won last night.
That
I
is
mean,
so
you
true.
know, I didn't see anything. But I know Ohtani hit a 3-run jack.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just what it is, man. I mean, I think that, you know, I mean, it's like what we talked about with owners and like athletic directors and people that are responsible for putting butts in seats, for bringing people into the game. Like, it's a very challenging pain point for people that are saying, I'm building these $100 million stadiums.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a third full in games. And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, people are like at home. I mean, they're
Right.
at people's house. They're at, you know, at restaurants. They're watching and consuming, and totally, they don't want to deal with traffic. They
Yeah.
don't want to deal with your lines. They don't want to deal with your prices. They don't want to deal with your, you know, bad cell service.
Right.
You know, they want to place the bet on the game. They want to get to the bathroom, crack their beer, and sit on their couch. I mean, it's just, it's a totally new wave of fan. I mean, my son, Jordan, I would tell him all the time, like, when Will Wade was coaching basketball at LSU, I mean, we had like we'd go to practice anytime. We'd go, you know, we almost had carte blanche, you know. I mean, it was like, and when I was a kid, I mean, I used to hound my dad and my uncle to just drop me off at LSU and let me go figure it out. And I would just get in the locker room. I would go to practice. I would meet all these people. And that was just kind of how I fell in love with sports. I fell in love with more of the stuff around sports than
Right.
the actual, like, sporting event. You know what I mean? I loved, like, the locker rooms and the practices and the meetings and all of that stuff, which drew me to, that's what I wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
And, like, I'd be like, you want to go watch practice? Like, you know, it's like Nas Reed and all that. And he'd be like, nah. I'd be like, what do you mean, bro? Like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't feel like sitting over there that long. You know, it's just like, your kid's 9 years old. He knows what he wants. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just totally different. And I hate to be, I mean, if I had that chance when I was your age, you know, it's just like, bro, it's totally different. I don't care about this. I can see Nas Reed come to my school now. You know, I mean, he's like, I mean, it's just, it's a totally different wave of fan.
It is.
You know, I mean, it's a totally different way of consuming,
Right.
of taking it in, of how you, of just how you digest it.
Well,
so,
I guess they're doing the best they can to keep up with that.
Sure.
Keep us all satisfied.
well, it's burning ground underneath your feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably like every single day.
Yeah.
Like, we just got to stay alive.
I know. It
You know what
has
I mean?
to be
Because
like that.
there's things that are eating away at the options, right? Like, there's just becoming so many more options that you're like, well, I mean, the in-game experience is just kind of falling further and further and further. I mean, think about it. What game did you go to this? I went to the Tennessee and Bama game.
Yeah.
That's the only games I went to.
Right.
You know what I mean? In Tennessee, I was going by halftime.
For football.
For
you
football.
mean. Yeah.
You know, I mean, went to the Bama game because it was the biggest game on the roster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Only LSU women's basketball game I went to this year is the one that, you know, she was, you know, bullying everybody to come to.
Oh, that's right.
You know what I mean? I felt like I'd have got my ass kicked by her if I didn't go. When I went to, you know, the Tennessee game, and we went to Mississippi State game.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it just.
But football and basketball are easier to go to, for sure. I mean,
foot-
there's still more of a
basketball
draw
is
there.
easier than football.
I mean, no, than baseball.
Oh, for
Those
sure.
two
Absolutely.
sports
It's-
easier to go to than baseball.
Energy.
Yeah.
We're moving.
Yeah.
Stuff's happening.
Yes. There's more of a draw for those two
But
sports,
even
I
the
think.
NFL.
Guys talking shit about Angel Reese and can't even beat her on one-on-one.
Who is that?
Dave Portnoy.
Put it up there. Let's see it.
Golly, what a terrible shot.
When is this?
Ugh.
Was he there?
I think that was at the Barstool tournament that they had. But look how bad he is at basketball. Like, he didn't even touch the goal.
Is he left-handed?
It does. That's what I was going to say.
He's
It does look
left-handed,
like
but he's
us out in
throwing
the
it with his
street.
right hand from that side.
I mean, I don't think he hits a shot.
Yeah, it doesn't appear
That's a
that
great
he
cut up.
does.
Jeez.
A great what?
That's a great cut up.
Right?
Jeez, Dave.
Rick.
Man, Dave.
Hey,
What he was?
Dave.
Why is he so mad?
I don't.
I think he lost a
He's in
bet.
a bad mood
Yeah, he had to lose a
yesterday.
bet.
I think he lost. I
Had
think he
to.
lost
Had to
a
lose a
bet
bet.
because he posted his bet and he had Iowa winning. And
Okay.
I think,
Okay, well then there you go.
yeah, you know.
But I mean,
You guys get a little sensitive over there.
Still,
like,
man.
yeah,
I mean,
he
like,
really
Be more
showed
like
his
Uncle
ass.
Boosie, man. Be more like Boosie.
Boosie.
I
Can you have
know.
that reaction?
Look at him cut his own little net. I love it.
Look at
He's
him.
hilarious.
You getting this, man?
His facial expressions. I know.
Larry Bird, come get your daughter, man.
Look at him. Oh my God.
He's amazing. Where does he live?
Atlanta.
Okay.
Like last
How
week.
funny.
Last
So
week,
funny,
he got
dude.
into it with the contractors on his property, so he was like driving the tractors around. Yes, he's like, they don't want to do my yard. I'm gonna do it myself.
Dude, he's the
so
funniest.
entertaining.
He's the funniest.
really
man.
is.
I'm telling you, he's just like that too.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
real
Like
life?
he used to come play pickup basketball.
Oh,
like
God.
in the bottom. I mean, in the dungeon with like when Tyrus Thomas. I mean, Tyrus Thomas grew up
With
three
Boosie.
doors down from him in the
Yeah.
bottom. I mean, like it was a McKinley. You know what I mean? Like he calls him Torrance. You know what I mean? He's like,
see him
I
walking.
mean, he's like Boosie. He's like, I mean, let me call Torrance. Like he shows up with, I mean, like just a crew, cuz. I mean, like he pulls up, and this is when you could pull, like the practice arena did not exist at this point. Like that was a parking lot,
Yeah.
where the gymnastics facility is, and where like Shaq's statue and Pistol
all
Pete,
that.
all that was a
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yeah, but
A
like by the track.
fantastic parking lot.
Great
I mean,
parking
like
lot.
you could like it was a great place to kind of like dip in, dip out. But you could you could jump the parking curb and you could drive up on the cement and you could like pull your cars up to like the dungeon. And there was those stairs that walked down to the dungeon. And this is in the middle of the summer. He would come play pickup. You know, like Tyrus would be like, "We got open gym." I mean, like he'd like, "I'm on my way, man." I mean, like he would pull up. Dude. Like Webby was with him.
This is young Boosie. Too.
Young. This is when he was living in Baton Rouge. You know what I mean? He's like he was he'd be like, "I'm on my way," and in 5 minutes
He's there.
you could hear him bumping down. I mean, like you could hear him like pulling in from 3 blocks away, dude. I mean, and it would be like 4 or 5 cars, just like they'd be hopping up on these curves, and I mean, like smoke just like billowing out of the sunroofs and the windows and everything,
That's
dude.
amazing.
I mean, and they would come down there, and he would come down talking. He just talked shit from the time he showed up to the time he'd have his head out the window, like as they were leaving, like talking, like, "Big baby, I'm gonna get your ass tomorrow." Like, I mean, just like the funniest dude you ever met, man. But like at that time, he was going out in the streets.
Yeah.
Like people were wondering whether or not he was going to be alive the next day. You know, if you called him to play pickup.
Yeah.
Now he's gotten to a point where like he's
He can have fun with it.
You know, he's
Yeah.
living in the suburbs of Atlanta.
Right.
He's driving his own tractors and stuff. I mean,
It's weird how that happens.
I mean,
You go from like total gangster to
I mean, he
like,
played at
just
McKinley.
mowing your yard.
wow.
oh yeah, he played at McKinley. Like you go watch it. He was notorious for like crossing half court and like pulling up. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's his game.
Somebody
like,
has
like he
to-
can't drive. Like he's not driving
Like,
anybody.
he ain't dribbling
He's not
anything.
bullying anybody. You know what I mean? He's like my size. But he's little bitty. You know. But he would come down and he'd be like talking shit to the bench, like to the coach. You know what I mean? Like
Watch
pull
this
it
three,
from
man.
like Caitlin Clark, like Steph Curry, and he'd make 1 or 2, and then he'd pull the he'd be shooting that thing all night long.
And I want to pass the ball.
Like Harvey Adger, you know Harvey Adger's like the legendary Estruma coach. He's been there 45 years,
He's still there?
still there today.
Wow.
Jesus.
Like Boosie walked up like, "Hey Harvey, you better guard me, man." Like I mean, like Harvey's like, "Who is this kid, man? Who is this
Gonna make me
kid?"
mad.
I mean, just dude, he was so funny. That's why social media needs Boosie.
Yeah, it really does.
Really, I mean,
But
like,
he's back, right? Is he back?
Yeah.
Okay.
have you ever seen the IG live when Shaq put his foot when
Yes.
Shaq put
Oh,
his
my
toes on
God.
and Boosie? Him and Boosie used to do the IG lives and people would like try to join.
Yeah.
You know, like he would have like these crazy like he would like tell like
He and Shaq did them together.
well, Shaq was like watching and like he was doing Boosie was doing an IG live like on like people's feet.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what's the nastiest feet out there? And somebody was like, Shaq gotta have nasty feet, man. And so like Shaq is like 2 seconds later, like tried to get in and put his foot, like took his shoes and socks off and put his foot on IG Live, and Boosie's reaction is the funniest thing.
I gotta find that and watch it.
I don't know if it's still out there. I mean, is it still out there? Because they scrubbed him off IG for a long time. I mean, like remember when he was calling Mr. Mike Zuckerberg? Mr. Mike Zuckerberg, put me back on, man. What's your problem, Mr. Zuckerberg?
That's amazing.
Dude,
Did Shaq have nasty feet?
Oh, yeah.
They were nasty?
Jesus, Katie.
7 foot, 300 pounds, and 20 years of basketball,
oh my gosh.
Katie?
I bet every toe is just
it
crooked.
looks like alien feet.
No toenails probably on
like,
the end
it
and
looks
big toe.
Fake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His shoe size is 23. God, I mean, his toes are probably as long as some people's feet.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Like adults. You know what I mean?
God,
they're all
that's weird.
crumpled up and crunched. Like Michael Jordan, they say, was like he was psychotic about not allowing people to see his feet.
Really?
Like he would keep socks halfway on his feet when the press would come in.
Oh, that's
like
too bad.
He'd be sitting like on his stool.
Yeah, if you notice, you could see it.
He did not allow anybody to look at it. Like it was like kind of like the way that I believe Sam Smith wrote about it in his book. It was like even Mr. Perfect knew his own imperfection.
That's pretty good.
You know, it was like he knew like, I know y'all all want to be like me, but if you saw my feet, you know I'm really human. You know, like I'm really disgusting.
That's like Stewie. You won't show us your feet.
Oh, I have terrible feet.
Yeah, Stewie's real protective.
Shaquille O'Neal told Shaq. I'm sure Shaq at some point was very insecure about his feet. You know, and now he's just like, I'll put this shit on IG Live. You know,
yeah, who cares?
Here you go, Boosie.
Somebody somewhere likes it.
Run with this.
Yeah.
No, look, this might be. Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. Hold on. I gotta go
it's
back.
It's the foot one.
Yes.
Have you ever seen this?
No.
Katie, put your headset on. It's unbelievable.
Let me see.
This is Shaq's feet.
Oh my God! Look at the toe. Look at Boosie's face, though.
Shaquille O'Neal told Shaq. Nasty feet.
Yeah, you see him? Hey, 4 rings, 28 pounds.
Look, Shaq's giving his look.
High school, AAU.
Hey, you been through some shit, Shaq. You been through some. How many games you played on the motherfucker? How many games in your career you played on your feet, man? You the GOAT.
You the GOAT.
You the GOAT. Hold on.
Is he gonna do it again?
I think he is.
You saw the thing.
Oh my God.
Look.
Oh my God.
What did he put on him? Oil? He's
some
oiling him
oil.
up.
It look like, I can't see the toes. Oh shit, Shaq. Oh, what the fuck?
I mean,
The fact that he just oiled them up, though.
I'm gone, Shaq. Shaq, I'm gone.
All right, boy.
Shaq, I'm gone.
Wait, could you play the one from yesterday?
oh yeah.
The Larry Bird, come get your daughter.
Oh,
So good.
God.
The fact that he just squirted oil all over
dude,
his
that's
feet.
so great.
Oh my God.
That's Shaquille O'Neal feet, man.
His face and Boosie's face. Yeah, there's like just a little nub of a toenail on that huge toe. That's crazy.
Yes.
I'm saying
that's never gross.
they did.
Headshot. Headshot. They dead, man.
Oh, here we go. How many what is he wearing on his neck? The chains.
Stay dead. Larry Bird, come get your daughter. Larry Bird, come get your daughter. Stay dead. Larry Bird, come get your daddy. ain't dead. They shot in the head. They did.
So hilarious.
What a great recruiting tool for LSU
Unreal,
too.
dude.
I
With
know,
the Burrow
right?
jersey.
I know.
Like it's like the easiest recruiting
It
pitch
really
ever.
is.
Like,
It really is. It really is.
It's amazing.
I mean, you saw him. They were playing Set It Off. He was FaceTiming the
Yeah.
team before the Final Four.
It's so good.
Oh man, it's so good, man.
and I guarantee he calls Kim Mulkey Miss Mulkey.
No doubt.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
Lil Wayne was
absolutely.
calling her Miss Mulkey too.
What is the deal with Lil Wayne getting all in on women's basketball? I love it.
I mean,
How do they do that?
He
Like,
knows
where
where
did
the, he
that
knows
come
where the
from?
clicks are. The
Yeah.
clicks.
So cool.
and he was on the Diana Taurasi and he
Sue
was,
Bird.
Yeah, he was on their little
Yeah.
show during the game.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was like, Miss Kim got them girls right, man.
That's really cool. That was really cool. to see.
Women's sports are blowing up, man.
Mm-hmm.
They really
I'm
are.
telling you, women's college basketball. I mean, the ratings
Mm-hmm.
this past month and a half. I mean, they've crushed the NBA.
Well, the ticket sales for yesterday, they were going
Yeah.
for more than Taylor Swift tickets. That's pretty
Jeez.
amazing. Shout out women.
I'd pay that ticket before I paid for Taylor Swift
Same.
tickets. Like
Absolutely. Same.
any day of the week.
Same.
JJ Watt wouldn't know.
Why? What
Why's
did
he
he
big-
say about it?
Oh, he made like an hour video about Taylor Swift's
Like, he
concert.
loves Taylor Swift?
Oh, he was all in.
Really?
Yes.
That's funny. That's weird.
That's why
I
JJ
wouldn't see
Watt's
that.
weird to
It's-
me.
It's kind of weird.
He's a weird guy.
All right, don't forget about Mikey Matuk and Mic'd Up coming up today with Jared Mitchell. That'll be at 6 o'clock this evening. Of course, Jay Johnson's Monday interview. As usual, he will be recapping the Tennessee weekend with a week-ahead look for Nichols, who is in town on Tuesday. And then, of course, a trip to South Carolina coming up this weekend. So for the entire crew, we appreciate you being involved here. Shout out to the LSU women's basketball program one more time. Here is Coach Kim Mulkey and the crew coming home today at around 11:15, 11:30 with the hardware. And there will be a on-campus get-together at around 12:30. Look for the details on social media coming out of LSU women's basketball for that. As soon as we give it, we'll be putting it up as well. So make sure you're following us here to keep up with it. Enjoy your Monday. Have a great Monday. As we'll be back with you. Thanks to Ben McDonald and Patrick Wright for stopping by here today. We'll be back with you tomorrow for more of the Jordy Culotta Show, which is built every day by R&B Builders.